Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelled Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today I'm in the studio, but I'm over the Skypes. I'm checking in with a recently new friend. Celebration's all about making new friends and not just hanging out with your old friends. And on the line is a fellow who became a new friend pretty quick. It's David Strutt. How you going, man?
I'm very well, Josh. How you doing, man?
Yeah,
how are you?
Good. Pretty good. Yeah, we were just exchanging bedtime war stories just before we got
on
the line.
Yeah.
And it's Sunday night where you are, and it's Monday sort of lunchtime where I am. So I've just put down the afternoon naps, and you've put down the big naps.
The big naps, yeah. Hopefully they're big naps.
Yeah, I'm a bit. The afternoon, our oldest is getting a bit too big for big naps, so it's a bit of a crapshoot whether she actually sleeps or not. But as long as she's quiet and she doesn't sort of burst in, we should be all right. The door is closed. The good thing about our house, actually, one of the best things about the house that we bought last year is that all the doorknobs are really high, so she can't actually get out of her room.
Oh, really? That's fantastic. God, how tall are those doorknobs, man? Good God,
they're pretty high. You probably can't see from here.
But yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
that's a good 4.5 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
wow.
They don't make them like that anymore.
No.
Yeah, so it's funny because anytime we go anywhere where the doors are lower, she just opens the door and just walks out. We're like, oh, thank God we got that situation at home. She knows where to stay. Anyway, kid talk. Everyone loves when people talk about your kids. Don't you know that?
Yep. Yeah, true. Yeah. I was constant stories about mine, and people just kind of like glaze over, and then that's the point in time where I know whether to shut up or to move on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Depends if I like them or not.
The next kid, yeah.
Yeah.
So we actually met at Celebration. We didn't know each other going in, and sort of by the time it got to the end of the 5 days, we were pretty chummy by the end, really. So what was your way in to that sort of crew of people? Or did you go solo? Who did you know before you went over there?
Well, it's a fair kind of tale, actually.
We're all about those.
We're just getting to the 9th episode. Hopefully I don't get to the 9th episode on this one, but I myself went solo to Celebration 16, which was in London, which was just down the road from where I was living.
Oh, were you near Canary Wharf, were you, or?
I was kind of a little bit further south, but the fact that I could just kind of jump on public transport and
I lived in London for 10 years, and there was not a sniff of a Celebration while I was there. And of course, when you leave, they park a bloody Star Wars Celebration in there after you leave the country. So
don't they just?
Yeah.
So it was 2016, and I was lining overnight. Remember those days? Lining overnight for it was the best of times and the worst of times.
You don't queue up for it. You just win the lottery we did.
This is very true. Yeah. Actually, I found out today that you were actually directly opposite me in Wintrust. You were directly opposite me. Yeah.
So across the thing,
Yeah, I was just on that thin, narrow block, just kind of left to the stage where you were just on the right.
Yeah, I always thought that it was weird though because there was a whole empty block next to us. Like they didn't.
Same with me.
And I'm going, you could have people would have sat there if you give them the chance. The view would have been amazing, but it's like I'd rather sit there than not be in there. But anyway.
Indeed, absolutely. So I was in the overnight line, and just to the just on the other side of the barrier was Steele Saunders and the boys from Star Wars Underworld.
Ah, those little rascals.
Those rascals, yeah, indeed. So I got chatted vaguely to Steele because he was periscoping. Remember periscoping was a thing?
Oh yeah, there's heady 6 weeks or whatever it was.
It was, yeah. It was just over Celebration. And he was trying to, and once he stopped, I kind of asked him what he was doing, and then I was like, oh, okay, so just Google Steele Wars podcast, and
so you didn't know?
There on in.
You didn't know? Hadn't heard anything?
No,
then?
I
Right.
was
That would have annoyed him.
Well, he never spoke to me again, so just blanked me at the Chicago thing. It was devastating. Yeah, and kind of from there on in, kind of started chatting to everyone through the Still War Safe Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just posted a random poster that I spotted outside a Barnes & Noble bookstore where Timothy Zahn was signing the second
The
Thrawn novel.
Yep.
Yeah. And I just put that up in there saying, oh, I found this. And then Timothy Dunlap, Toasted Zen on Twitter, kind of say, hey, I'm going to come over, fly from Southern California over to Salt Lake City. And from there on in, kind of met him. Then I met Dallas, who was just down the road. And then that was it. I was
You're in with those motivator boys, in it for life.
I was, yeah.
Motivators for life.
No going back.
It was like Sons of Anarchy. You had to get it burnt into your back or something.
Oh, you absolutely do. It's a brutal paddling. It's a brutal paddling.
Ride or die with those motivators.
So then kind of that was it. I was kind of talking to everyone, and then met you guys. Celebration was phenomenal. Meeting everyone for the first time. It was, it was so good. So
it's funny.
Good,
I still bang. Like, weeks later, we're still talking about it, obviously, and a lot of the conversations sort of pivoted to next time, and it will be funny because we went there and we knew the people in Melbourne, obviously, and I knew some of the people a little bit going in, but I'd had sort of people like Charlie and Claire and Eric on the podcast and Hawes and those guys. I'd had them on the podcast. So you kind of go, well, there's the icebreaker if you meet them in real life. And of course, everybody just got along and it was all awesome. But you kind of go, well, next time, it's just a crew of people I already know. Like, it's not even a, hey, internet friend. It's just like, hey, friend who I legitimately spent time with.
I mean, it was just walking into that. Walking into Echo Base on that Thursday night when I kind of met you properly for the first time, and just kind of everyone just kind of like kept pouring in. There was there was Turbo, there was Josh, there was Emily Lynn, there was Struthers, and it was kind of like, hey, I know these people.
I know these non-famous people.
Yeah,
I know.
It's like, wow. Yeah, but it's like within kind of like the circle, it's like, oh shit.
Holy shit, that's Luke Cruiser. Oh my God.
Cool. Oh man, I've now got to be as cool as I am online now.
Wow, the pressures.
I know, right?
The pressures. Who would have thought you'd have to be cool at a Star Wars convention?
I know, right? It's a bit contradictory, isn't it?
Who is the coolest person at Star Wars Celebration? It's someone like Sam Witwer or something like that, He's got the bad boy, though. I think David Collins is cool, but I'm a massive dork, so I find David Collins cool. But
no, that's fair enough. That's fair. Yeah, because he kind of, he's kind of like one of like the deep thinkers of guys. So it's kind of. Yeah, it's like the more you kind of nerd it up, the cooler you are, really.
There's no shortage of that there, is there?
Nah.
So have you flagged Anaheim with the family, or sort of you're like, oh, it's on next year, it'd be really great to go, or is it you're just going to play sort of ease this reality in that going away again?
It's a tough one. I mean, it's like, we've recently kind of purchased the house, and it's kind of, would I be able to kind of swing it? I mean, the one thing was that as soon as I found out that it was in Anaheim, I was kind of like, that's doable. We can totally drive there.
What's the drive?
It's about 9 hours. So, you can do it in a day.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, it's Melbourne to Sydney. It's it's doable. It's London to Edinburgh, maybe even maybe even shorter.
Yeah, I'd say I'd say that's about right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of it's the fact that there's no kind of flight involved, and
so that shaves a bunch off.
Oh, it saves a ton of money off, and then getting in with just finding someone to
put you up,
crash in with, and such. Yeah, it's doable, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
It's kind of up in the air, but hopefully.
The thing is, like when they announce that date, the tickets go on sale. You're buying that pass regardless, just in case. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't want to not have the pass just in case.
I am.
I mean, that's always the attitude here. Going like, buy the pass, you can always return it. Rather than getting to the week before and going, I should have done it. What was I thinking?
It will be done, but it's whether or not it kind of follows through will be the interesting thing. What about you, Anne? Are you guys coming back over for it?
It looks like it. I certainly after I sort of got back and said, they're doing it again next year, and Kat, my partner, was just like, well, you should totally do it again. So I went, all right, well, that seems that's about as good as it is going to, as an approval as you can hope for. So at this stage, it seemed like we got through the last one okay, and obviously the kids will be a year older, so they should be a little bit more amenable. But
should be.
Yeah, so making it Anaheim should be. Anaheim does make it a little bit easier just because, we had to fly, because Melbourne, usually when you fly to America from Australia, you have to go to LA anyway. So I had to go from LA to Chicago. So it just means that's it's 6 hours closer than it was. It won't be as a long a flight and all that kind of stuff. It's still a long flight, but it's not.
Yeah.
You don't get off the long flight and then get on another flight for 5 or 6 hours, which is pretty brutal. So it's looking like it. We haven't really gave any solid plans, but I've seen some of the crew here and we've talked, and it certainly seems like everybody's keen. The realities of life can get in the way sometimes, but
it's true.
Yeah, it's good to keep the dream until the dream. Like I said, if they say tickets come out, next month, I'll definitely buy a pass just in case. And now that you kind of go, they had the return system and they had this whole thing to look after if you can't go and stuff, so that'll be fine. Now, this is the second time you've actually been on the podcast, because you were on one of the blog pods as well and you told the story about the spider droid.
Spider Mall,
yeah. So we won't repeat the story here, but obviously the short of it is that our buddy Luke Cruiser, Motivators for Life, he is hunting this elusive Darth Maul spider statue, and couldn't get it. And then you just happened to be in the right time at the right place at the right time and hooked a brother up.
Yep. Yeah. It was his reaction. Well, I say his reaction was fantastic. The guy who was standing behind him, who definitely wasn't getting one, his reaction was fantastic.
If Luke had been that guy in the opposite situation, Luke's reaction would have been fantastic as well too.
Oh yeah, there would have been tears.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Did you actually manage to get all the stuff that you wanted though? So I think the conversation sort of ended, and you did a brother a solid and stuff. But what were you hunting? Because you were sort of looking for books and things mostly, weren't you? When we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Did you get any exclusives or anything apart from that?
Yeah, I got Master and Apprentice. Also got the Bandai K2SO, fake fan, 000, 000 model, which was pretty neat. Got the Regal robot, I forgot the little kind of gargoyles that kind of sit on Jabba's throne along the bottom.
Yep.
I got one of those as kind of like a magnet, which was kind of fun. But those were kind of like the big, like the kind of exclusives that I was able to kind of purchase. I mean, I didn't win any kind of lotteries for like the Funko or
the
Hasbro or anything like that. But with that said, about 2 weeks after we came back from Celebration, I got a package from Dallas Wood and Luke Cruiser of the Bad Motivators, and it was the Phantom Menace 20th anniversary.
Oh, the figures.
Hasbro figures.
Oh,
they were able to pick them up, and they sent them through. Oh God, seriously,
sweethearts.
It was. Oh, I was
But,
so thankful, man. It was, and because
I
they
know
are
that you would.
beautiful.
Yeah, I managed to get them too, and I didn't get the lottery. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time when the queue. That sort of the Sunday afternoon was the minute they kind
Yeah.
of went, oh, we've got about 100 spare. We can, if you get in a line. I just happened to be walking in the right place at the right time, so I managed to snag them too. So yeah, they've got pride of place up on the old shelf at the moment. But you're not taking them out of the packaging, I'm assuming.
No, oh God, no, no. It's with the Black series. I'm I'm a sucker for the troopers. I do love the troopers. I don't kind of army build, but I will get kind of one of each. But the only other Black series that I kind of really collect are like the con exclusive ones, so the ones with like, the really nice kind of packaging, like the big Thrawn one from, what was that, Comic Con, what was that, 2016, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 2016. So with this kind of, collection and Rex as well, which is in kind of like a really nice kind of blue kind of slip kind of sleeve. That. Yeah, it's those are really the only ones.
Have you got the Jump Trooper?
I do, yes.
Yeah,
I didn't find that in a wild.
No,
Nick Palmer got me that.
I got
which
it.
I was grateful of.
I got it at GameStop in San Francisco. So I went to San Francisco after Celebration. I just went into the Disney store and they had it in the Disney store. No, it was GameStop.
GameStop,
so, yeah. And I went to the
fantastic.
Disney store and they had the Battle Damage Phasma in there. And they had, and then I went to a GameStop and they had the Jump Troop, and I was like, oh wow, and I got to find some more room in my suitcase because I thought I'd completely maxed out all the room, so I had to start getting creative. I was stuffing my socks into my shoes to like make up, because all that cubic centimeters that you could can I get a few more inches that I can fit a box of, because I was looking at some of the figures going, some of these are going to have to go out of the box, because I was sort of going, all right, which ones definitely have to stay in the boxes and which ones can potentially, because I'd gotten a couple of cheap sort of Force Awakens era Black Series I didn't have just because they were cheap. I'm going, all right, this Kylo might just have to go out of the box to make room for the the pristine, hard to find chase figure that's going to have to stay in the box. Sacrifices have to be made.
You kind of come out of it feeling like Tetris champion, because I mean that really is. It's just kind of like moving everything in. Yeah,
all those years of stacking the car, the back of the car with all the kids stuff when you go on holiday. How can I fit the pram in, and can I fit this in, and can I fit this in, and the scooters and stuff. Yeah, well, I just ordered the. I've been chasing the retro figures, the ones that look just like the Kenner figures, which are basically impossible to get. Like they're impossible to get as it is, and then you come to Australia, where I'd heard that there was one chain of stores here that had them, and the employees were just taking them and basically just selling them. They're getting like one packet per, So I've bitten the bullet and I've pre-ordered them from a site in the UK, and I don't think they'll be here until about August. But I've just gone, if I do that, at least that gives me peace of mind. I won't go mad trying to, you know what I mean? Like I'll keep going to that shop every week, thinking that they'll magically turn up when I know deep down that they won't.
Yeah.
So
it's
gone, all right,
it's
they could just turn up.
It's the same
in August, and I'll have them.
Yeah, it's the same here. I haven't seen them in the wild kind of like whatsoever. Although I did get a text message from one of my friends saying, "Oh, dude, I saw those retro figures in the Target today. Do you need them?" I was like, "Yeah, all right, why not?" Went into Target the day after. Just nothing, stripped bare, and I was like, I can guarantee it's one guy gone in there, bought them all, and I can guarantee that they are all up on eBay right now.
I know.
It's infuriating, but I mean,
that was it. I just didn't want to have to go through that. And I mean, the thing is, if they turn up in the wild and I get them here, I'll just take a second and I'll give them to some, one of the crew here who'll be hunting for them, because I know that, we've got a bunch of people, Andy and Michael Zabo here and Chris Fresh from Geek Dudes, they'll all be hunting them. So if you come across them, they're like, dude, I'll just get them and I'll hook you up later on. So it's all about getting the sweet hookups. You're the master of the sweet hookup.
It is. It really is. Right place, right time. And as I said to you on the blog pod, it's one of kind of like the. It's not kind of like an unwritten rule, but it's kind of it's just something that everyone should be kind of doing, because everyone kind of knows what everyone else is looking for. Yeah. And everyone kind of knows what they found, because everyone kind of, swaps stories kind of when you bump into each other throughout the
what
day.
You're looking
and it's
for
just, exactly, and it's just kind of like, if you can get it.
Well, I had, when I did the video for the Blue Bantha Milk Boys, and they were talking about Celebration, I think on that, and I was talking about like the magic of Celebration and things, and I just said, I was a bit corny, but I was sort of like, it's they talk about the people, and the things that people remember sometimes is, oh, I got this thing, or this thing worked out for me, and I managed to get this thing, and a lot of time that's the result of somebody helping you out. It's like, well, I got the sweet hookup because David managed to be at the right place at the right place, and that's the thing I'll remember. That's the magic. It's like, well, it is magic, you got it, but it still took your mate to know, to be there, to think of you, to get all those little pieces working at the right time. So
yeah, man, and that's one of like the best things about kind of like certain parts of a collection, is that like the bits where you kind of like really kind of like proud to kind of show off on your shelf. They've all got like a little story behind them.
Yeah, that's right. And you just go, well, I never give that away, because that's, that's the special thing. It's special for one reason, but it's also special for another reason, that's the real value of toys. It
is.
Now, the reason I particularly got you on this week, we talked about previously you coming back, and I actually spent a lot of time after Celebration messaging a bunch of people who hadn't been on, saying, come on, you've got to come on. So I've got a list of about half a dozen names that are on here, and you weren't the very first person I messaged, but you're one of the few, and I thought, well, I'm going to bump you up the queue, because we were having a good discussion the other day online. I thought, well, we can move this discussion onto the... But the jump-off point is basically the Vanity Fair photos that came out.
Yes.
Which were fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Annie Leibovitz
I didn't do any work that day.
Does good work. Well, they dropped it about 11:30 at night here, so it was just before I went to bed, and I was like, ooh, and I caught them just as I think it was one of the very, I think I was the first person to like the tweet that Vanity Fair tweeted, because I was on it right away.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
So I was looking at it right away, and I was like, oh my god.
Did you leave a little message underneath which just said first?
Yeah, I should have, actually, like I was on YouTube.
Because it's 2003.
Yeah, that's right. So we won't go through all the pictures in detail. Everybody's seen the pictures and things, but obviously there's some big things to take out of this, and we'll just generally chit chat, and I think it'll lead us to where I think this conversation is going to end.
I'm not looking forward to it.
So I'm just scrolling down the article. Obviously, there's the first photos, Ray and JJ. Shooting. I'm not going to describe what photos look like, because people can look at them themselves. And there's the covers with Kylo and Ray, and then we get to the JJ standing around a bunch of blokes looking they're going to some sort of Swedish metal concert, the Knights of Ren.
Oh yes.
So
yeah, man.
Where are you on Knights of Ren? Are you sort of interested in them? Do they interest you? I'm a bit like, well, they haven't really done anything, and I don't know anything about them, so I didn't sort of get all excited about the idea of them, but I'm happy they're there.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I'm glad they're there, after we were kind of teased with them in The Force Awakens, and so it's like I'm kind of intrigued to kind of know how they kind of play a role in this, and maybe might even find out what they were doing in the timeline of Last Jedi and Force Awakens. So it's hopeful we'll kind of find out kind of what's exactly it's like what they've been off doing, considering they're supposed to be this this big kind of enforcer group.
Well, it's weird.
Who knows?
Because obviously they're in the Force Vision. They're in the Force Vision in Force Awakens, and they turn up.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, "Ooh, what's their story?" And I think they might have even been in the trailer as well. So everyone was expecting them all to be in the film, and then they weren't in the film any more than that shot in the trailer. But then, of course, JJ wasn't going to make Episode 9. The Jurassic World guy was going to make them. So it could have just been it. So it's kind of interesting that he's gone, oh, well, I want these dudes back in. I did have plans for them. Or whether there'd always been a plan for them in Episode 9, or whether he's just kind of like, oh, yeah, I better dust off that idea and pop it in. And sort of people are going, oh, well, maybe that is she was seeing the future. So maybe this is the first time they turn it. Maybe they haven't done anything. Maybe they're actually new, dudes that he's got. But they mention Knights of Ren in Force Awakens, though, doesn't he? Doesn't Snoke call him the Master of the Knights of Ren? So they must have been around.
Master Knights of Ren. Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe that's just some title. It's like, I better get some dudes. I keep telling them I've got these mates, and I better go round up some people. Oh yeah, Knights of Ren. That's just not me with seven different usernames on a Facebook thing, just making 7 fake Facebook friends.
I don't know. Is a LinkedIn canon? I don't know.
They're all like, it's like we had a federal election here in Australia recently, and there was a bloke who was running. I don't even know if he got in or not, but he had his Facebook page, but he got busted writing like great work on his own Facebook post because he forgot to log in as a different person. It was like, great, what a great idea! You did a great job. So maybe that was Kylo with the Knights of Ren. Oh, you are so handsome and smart, Kylo, says Knights of Ren 1 with knife in the hand, or whatever he's got. Because they've got these pretty metal outfits, haven't they?
They do, yeah. It's, there's, you're not seeing any faces.
No.
So, it's, although there was a pretty sweet kind of Easter egg that someone spotted that one of the axes that one of them's holding actually shows up in Solo.
Oh, is it the one in like what's his face? Dryden Voss's sort of like his little trophy room or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the same kind of shape, kind of axe or anything. I mean, it's probably nothing. It's just a nod, nothing to kind of theorize on. But it's one of those things.
Looking at the photo now, I'm just trying to zoom in to see if I can see lightsabers. It looks like 2 of them might have something that looks like a lightsaber on their belt, but surely they're not going to miss the opportunity of having some dudes with lightsabers, are they?
Well, I know. I mean, it's this the one thing. It's like kind of like isn't. I mean, I don't think it's been kind of like explicitly said, but it's kind of like heavily implied that the Knights of Ren are effectively the handful of students that he took from Luke's.
Just sort of nicked off with him.
Yeah. So it's it's if that is true, these guys are going to be Force kind of welders. Yet, I don't know if I've kind of seen any kind of lightsabery kind of shapes upon their bodies or anything. But they're all holding kind of physical
weapons. There's like knives and clubs and stuff. The guy's got like a club, like he's just going to like
sharpen sticks.
Sharpen sticks. He's going to stick it where the sun don't shine or something. But anyway, so that's cool. I'm just moving down the thing here. So then we've got the photo of Kerry Russell as the new bounty. I don't know if she's a bounty. They're saying Queen of Thieves or something. Scoundrel Zori Bliss.
Yeah.
So she's got the sort of the Rocketeer. The Rocketeer comparisons are being made here, and.
Oh yeah, it totally is. It looks the same.
I just look at this costume and just like go, if I was a cosplayer going, oh my god, this is going to be a freaking nightmare to have to try and recreate. Like it's so intricate.
It is. And what's her name? Zori Bliss.
Zori Bliss.
Bliss. Wow.
That sounds like a pop star or something, doesn't it?
I know, right?
Zori Bliss with just a little bit,
That's a stuff like that. Yeah, it's a cosplayer's dream, man. Oh, in fact, they all are. Once again, it's like the one thing about this sequel trilogy is totally like the costume design. Sorry, tangent there, but it's kind of, it's a bit kind of prequely, it's a bit OT. It's kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, you just know that there's somebody who's because stuff like San Diego Comic-Con's coming up soon. As soon as they saw that, like, well, I better get cracking on this costume. I want to be one of the first to get to rocking the Zori Bliss down there at Comic-Con. So we don't know anything really about her, but cool character. I mean, it's nice that she's actually, she's not just playing like someone's girlfriend or someone's mum, that she's actually going to be this pretty sweet character. And I like Felicity growing up. It was a good show.
Yeah, and she's wait, was it Felicity? No, wasn't Felicity? No, sorry,
Kerry Russell. She was Felicity, wasn't she?
Kerry, wrong. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I had a moment just then. You're absolutely right.
So moving down, and then we've got Britain represent here. We got Hux and Richard E. Grant.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Hux and Pride.
I love Richard E. Grant. I think he's awesome. With Nell and I, Spice World, put Richard E. Grant in anything. I saw Can You Forgive Me, but he was nominated for an Academy Award, and he is just absolutely fantastic in that. So if you get a chance to ever watch that, he's just great. I kind of assumed that he'd be playing an Imperial or a First Order.
Oh, it was a given.
I kind of wanted him to do a little bit more, like make him a bit more of a, I don't know. It's always the evil British person. Come on. It's because we are the bad guys. The colonists.
We are the bad guys. We're the colonials. Really, it's. Yeah,
I don't know.
We've been booted out. It's no. But I mean, it's. I know. I think it's just kind of like another notch in the bedpost for a string of just iconic British bad guys.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be awesome. But I was kind of going, he could have been like a, charming smuggler, or the Charm Factory could have the Richard E. Grant Charm Factory could have been switched on. But I guess we'll get that in the press because when he's promoting the movie, he seems pretty pumped to be involved. So,
he's super happy. But then again, though, he might kind of come across as kind of like a bad guy charmer.
That's true.
Because
I just like the idea that he might be at a celebration. Like if I kind of was making me realize how much of a big fan of Richard E. Grant I am, and I'm kind of going, love him and everything. Like I would consider getting a photo with Richard E. Grant if he turned up at a celebration.
Oh, that'd have been amazing. That'd have been absolutely amazing.
He would be really, especially an early one before he gets jaded. If he's not at his 10th celebration, he's all excited to be there. He'd have his little hat and his scarf on, and it's all playing out in my mind.
Long coat.
Yeah, long coat. He's looking quite cool, looking very cool. I'm not going to go through the behind the scenes thing. I'm going to scroll down here.
Although then again, I do have a teeny. Can I air a teeny tiny bit of a theory about Pride, though, of kind of like what he might be? Well, it's just because his actual kind of name is Allegiant General Pride.
So is Allegiant General, that's a rank, like it's
Allegiant
General. One up on General.
Yeah, I know, but it's just that kind of it's just that word Allegiant, which kind of made me kind of think whether he's kind of like head of the kind of like internal affairs of First Order. He's kind of because after. Well, I mean, just making sure that everyone's kind of, staying true to the cause, if you know what I mean.
Mm. Yeah. Well, we kind of talked about this, about sort of, is Kylo still in charge? Or is he technically in charge, kind of not really interested in the day-to-day runnings of the First Order? You know what I mean? Like, they're kind of like, he's in charge, but he locks himself in his room all day being emo. Someone's got to run this thing. So it's Hux and Allegiant General are actually the ones who kind of are running the show, really.
Yeah, because it's like the one thing is was like if you look at Pride's kind of uniform as well, it's a bit more ornate than Hux. So it's you can't help but think he might be a little bit above Hux, and I reckon that's probably going to piss Hux off.
Well, so it's doesn't he? He's just an angry ginger,
everyone
really?
pisses Hux off. I mean, everything pisses off Hux, and the fact that when he starts shouting, a lisp comes through. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, that's right. You think he's,
but it's so I can't kind of help but think kind of that's kind of going to be Pride's role in the First Order. Really, it's making sure that everyone's kind of standing in line with him. The employee handbook.
And if Kylo does sort of flip, and there's all these theories that he's going to flip and Ben Demption, all that kind of thing. Well, if it happens, someone's got to be running the show to crush him. So whether that's Hux or maybe they're going like, Hux, you're too weak sauce. We're bringing in the Allegiant General here to clean up your mess.
Bring in the other guy.
Yeah, bring in the other guy. Oh, I like that. Then we just got a shot of some filming stuff. There's 3PO and Chewie, behind the scenes. Go through that. Some more 3PO in the desert. Tony Daniels getting a little wipe down there, looking pretty C-3PO-y as always.
Yeah.
As always. And then
Shiny.
and then
Goldenwood himself.
we've got the speaker on the speeder on the car here that's looking very Fury Road, shooting the which is cool. I like the idea that they're just on the back of a truck somewhere, which is cool.
Yeah. Space truck. I like it.
Yep.
Not space truckers. That'd be terrible.
Yeah, so it's actually funny because I think in the trailer you see
you see that
on there. So and now you've got Ray, Chewie, and so whether they're on the same ship or whether they're behind them or in front of them or whether they're all on I'm not too sure. I'm just trying to.
It looks very similar because I think they've got that kind of. So I don't.
Yeah, I'm just curious what's in that. There's like a bag of parts and things in there. I'm like, I wonder what's in there. I can't quite tell, but not too sure. And then we scroll down, and it's the Hello Ladies shot here. It's Captain Lando Calrissian and Poe Dameron smouldering at the cameras here.
Oh yeah, it's the shot. It's the shot that's kind of become the. It is. It's the. It's kind of become a almost a tradition of the Vanity Fair articles for like the sequel trilogy of, your main kind of protagonists kind of lounging around the Falcon cockpit.
They certainly are lounging here, isn't it? It does look like it's like they're selling, Calvin Klein, or you could put you could put some sort of luxury men's brand logo in the corner, and it would just be Dior for men, or
completely, yeah, or kind of, or the fact that Lando's there, it's going to be some kind of drink.
Yeah,
it's going to be some kind of sweet Star Wars space whiskey or something. It's.
I still can't get over the grey mustache on Lando, though.
I know.
It's really. I mean, I know he's in his 80s and things, but it's just kind of messing with me. It looks like his hair's pretty dark. You'd feel like he put a little just for men in the mode.
I know. It's just a simple comb through. Come on, Lando. It's not hard. It's not hard.
Oh well, Silver Fox.
He's aging gracefully. That's gracefully.
Right. So that's a lovely shot. It's almost
beautiful.
otherworldly, that shot there.
It is.
And then we're just going down here. We're seeing some of the natives. So one of the things that came out of the article actually was that we're not on Jakku, we're not on Tatooine, we're not on Jeddah. We're on another desert planet. Well, at least that's what they're saying. Pasana.
Pasana. Pasaana. Pasana. I think. Yeah, Pasana. Yeah, it's. It's going to upset some people. How many desert planets are there in, but it's a big galaxy.
Yeah. Oh, look, story-wise, I mean, I guess because they kept saying, we're winding up this trilogy, it's going to sort of tie the whole thing up. You're kind of assuming that you would go back to these.
They might go back to Tatooine and, yeah.
And I guess there's no reason to say that they might not still, or they could just be flat out lying. They could just be like, yeah, well... And then later on, if people says, I thought you said it was Pasana. It's like, yeah, well, we didn't want you to know it was Tatooine. So, we just told you that it was.
Yeah, we just kind of, got a bag of Scrabble pieces and just picked out 6 letters, It was, all right, P,
or it could be, Tatooine could have, it could be some technicality. Tatooine isn't called Tatooine anymore. The Empire flattened it. They didn't want to know about it, or they changed the name of the planet, or the other side of the planet's called this. There's always a way around these things.
Yeah,
It's Pasana could be a broken off part of Jeddah, or I don't know, who knows. It depends on how complicated they make these things, but it's likely just it's just another place. Okay?
It's just another planet. Yeah. We're giving the writers too much credit.
Yeah, well, it's our job to overthink. It's our job to overthink these things, mate.
It is.
Then we're rolling down here, and we've got John Williams doing the score, and there's a nice shot of Leia there on the screen, looking like she's in a jungle. Were you in the episode 9 panel, weren't you?
I was. I said I was directly across.
Directly across.
Yeah.
So, do you remember seeing before they showed the footage, they were showing some photos, and that they had a ship that looked a lot like the Tantive 4?
Yeah,
looked a lot like it. So
it looked a lot like it. Yeah,
I have a feeling that we're probably going to get a shot of Leia on that ship. I think, as a little callback to the old first A New Hope. I reckon
potentially, yeah.
I think Leia will be on that ship at some stage in the film. I guess they're obviously working with what they've got footage-wise with Leia, but just the background there, it looks like that she's in a jungle, and I did believe the ship was it looked like it was in a sort of a jungly kind of...
Yeah, it looked like it was kind of, but it looked like it had been there for like a long time. It looked like it had been kind of, almost kind of like half consumed by the jungle, if memory serves me correctly, but I might be mistaken.
No, it did look like that, because a lot of people
did look like
it might
that,
be, Yavin 4 base and things. It's looking very, but hey, there's a lot of desert in the galaxy. There's a lot of jungle in the galaxy.
There's a lot of jungle in the galaxy. Although the one thing was, I can't remember the actual kind of where they were, but apparently they did actually have a few days actually at the place where I can't remember the actual name of, but they're these massive hangars where they constructed the original Yavin 4, and then when they reconstructed it for Rogue One, apparently they did shoot some days there. So
right,
perhaps the whole Yavin thing might be it might be Yavin, but we'll see.
You know that they're just keeping all those sets and everything they build now. Like eventually, because they keep talking about going, they're making all these Disney Plus shows and TV shows and stuff. It's like, hey, if you just keep all those sets, pretty soon that you can run these shows for cheap, because you can bust the old Yavin 4 base out of mothballs, and you can bust out the Millennium Falcon. You can just keep reusing this stuff over and over again. Just give us more Star Wars. Now we're getting down to the business end of things. Here he is, Luke Skywalker is back, standing on a burning. Is he? Well, this is the thing. It's none of this makes sense, because some people are going, well, this is the shot from when the Jedi Temple burned down, but it's long hair Luke. He hasn't got the, he's aged a bit since then. And on the flashbacks, he's still got the shorter hair, and he's got a little bit more brown in the hair. So it certainly looks like Last Jedi on the island Luke, for sure. So, and obviously R2's there as well, which I guess people at the time go, well, fire R2. It must be it must be when the temple burnt down, but it could be a flashback. He could be appearing. We haven't seen R2 yet. Maybe R2 died with. Maybe Luke took R2 with him, and they're both ghosts. He's like, sorry, R2, you have to die with me.
That'd be amazing. Oh my god.
Because I haven't seen him anywhere else. I've seen plenty of 3PO. This is the other shot I've seen R2.
No, because R2 didn't show up in the trailer whatsoever. And that last shot when they're apparently looking, at the wreckage of a Death Star. There's BB-8 there. You don't see Dio either. The new one.
Long,
3PO's there. 3PO's there, but no R2.
Ghost R2. All right, you heard it here first.
Ghost R2. Yeah,
Luke took R2 with him. Before he got on the rock to do the meditation, he just kicked R2 off that rock. R2 was up there with him. He just kicked him off. So did actually... Where was R2? No, well, hang on. Is R2 at the end of Last Jedi? Now I have to look it up.
No, he definitely is.
In the last
Doesn't he have
scene
a
when they're on the
porg on his
Falcon?
head? I'm sure he has a porg on his head.
Now I have to look it up.
I'm positive he's on the Falcon at the end of Last Jedi.
I'm just going to look this up, see if I can find the shot really quick here. This is a trick from old Steel Saunders when you're talking about something.
It is. If you're having trouble, Google it.
You've got to look it up. Oh no, here we go. No, he's there. All right,
he's there. Yeah.
This doesn't hold water. Unless something happens. So Luke didn't kick him off the cliff to die with him. So we know that. But maybe something happens in between. But
perhaps someone leaves a hatch open, and or perhaps 3PO is so fed up with R2's shit he's been giving him for the last 40 years, and bye bye.
Last movie, I'm finally having it. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I'm done.
This is obviously has been somewhat staged, if not completely staged, for the photo.
Yeah, I think it's a promo shot.
But it does answer, some questions of, because you're assuming even if Luke is a ghost, he's probably going to look like this. He's not going to be youngified.
No.
I don't know what else to say really. The fire could be anything. It could be. It's good. I like this sort of thing that kind of gives you what you want, but doesn't really answer anything, does it?
Yeah. It's the master of. It's a classic Abrams ruse.
It is.
You know, he shows you all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, none of this is going to be in the film. You know, it's but it's there have been these Vanity Fair things. There have been plenty of times when they've kind of shown you a picture of something and it's not been in the film. I mean, there was a during the Phantom Menace Vanity Fair one. There was a picture of Ewan McGregor and Ray Park fully decked out fighting on Tatooine.
Oh, that's right. Well, that didn't give Ewan McGregor something to do because they dragged him all the way to the desert and he had about 3 lines. He could have stayed home. He could have filmed that anywhere. They could have just stuck him in because he was just standing in front of the ramp up to the ship. They could have just done that. He could have just stayed home.
Pretty much, yeah. Or he was on the cockpit.
Dragging me all the way to the desert for this, but anyway, I'm on Star Wars. I'm not jaded yet.
Yeah.
Now, final shot here. We're going to talk about this. Where is it? Oh, on the article. Is it all the way at the top? Maybe I've lost it. Oh, there it is. Actually, there's 2 here. I'll do the quickly before we'll do the Finn and is it Jaina Jana riding the horses.
Yeah, Jana.
And she's got a very impressive looking bow and arrow. And
she has.
He's rocking the gun on the side, and that's looking pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We haven't really had a little bit of on-creature warfare in Star Wars, have we? We've had people sort of ride things, but not like a sort of stampede of creatures. I mean, you had the Fathiers a little bit, but that wasn't sort of riding up on a gun, sort of shooting off the side of an animal. So,
yeah, it'd be nice to see some kind of, proper kind of Star Wars cavalry kind of. It's. I'm wondering if it's if it's just those two whilst they're kind of scouting out, or whether or not they're kind of
big gang of them behind.
Exactly. You don't know what's just on the other side of that hill that they're on. It
does whet the
It's
appetite,
a classic one. It does, doesn't it?
Now,
and also it's those bow, the bolts that that bow fires. Are they are they kind of like a real thing, or are they kind of like a space arrow? Where they draw them back, they start glowing, and then off into you don't know.
It's cool, yeah, for sure. I like all of that.
It's fun. I love that stuff.
Now, the final image that we're going to talk about here, where this all started, is the amazing photo of Kylo and Rey in the rain or in the water, basically going at it with the lightsabers here.
Mm-hmm.
And I had sort of speculated that this was the wreckage of the Death Star that they were on top. There was a bit of talk of it was a bit of talk that maybe it was the Millennium Falcon that they were on, but I think some of the behind-the-scenes stuff showed them fighting on board something that looked a lot more rusted, that looked a bit too rusty for the Falcon. But a lot can happen in a few years. The Falcon we haven't seen. We've seen the cockpit, I guess. Well, no, it must be there. So, hey, if Lando, it can't be rusty if Lando's flying it around. That ain't going to fly with Lando.
Oh, no. He
doesn't. The armor roll and keeping it nice and buffed.
Yeah, he's going to be on there with a turtle wax and just, that's what he's been doing for the last year. It's
buffering out the dints.
It is. He's putting the wet bar back in.
That'd be awesome if they just walked in and it just looked exactly like it did in Solo.
That'll be amazing. Could you imagine how many people that would piss off?
He's just there in like a little apron and he's got the wet wipes and he's just like wiping all this gunk off the walls and. You guys live like animals.
Yeah, what's all this?
So, I had speculated that they were on top of the Death Star pieces and things, and then this basically kicked off a discussion about if this is the Death Star, where is this? What is this Death Star? How big is a Death Star? Where does a Death Star go when it explodes? And I'm still stipulating that if this is the second Death Star, we're on Endor. And now, just to clarify, because this has come up a lot, when I'm talking about Endor, I'm talking about the forest moon of Endor, where Return of the Jedi takes place, where the Ewoks are, where the strike team goes down to blow up the shield generator. That Endor, not the moon, not a planet near it called Endor, not another thing in the Endor system. I'm waving my hands around now because David's just looking at me like I'm losing my
wonderful.
mind. So I'm thinking about Endor, and you had some strong feelings about this. You were talking about asteroids hitting and all sorts of things, weren't you?
Well,
let me have your piece.
It was just the it's just the Death Star is was a big thing, and that looks like a pretty sizable kind of chunk of the Death Star. But the thing was that, and it is a canon thing. It was kind of put on a little post that Star Wars tweeted out like 2 or 3 years ago, that the Rebel Alliance did kind of put a series of tractor beams and force fields so that the forest moon of Endor wouldn't be hit. And then Matthew Frost kind of jumps in. He's like, couldn't they have kind of like tractor beamed it in to the planet so that it didn't
just let it land slowly?
Yeah, indeed. But then again, though, that looks like a pretty sizable chunk of the Death Star, and water displacement, tsunamis, sea levels rising.
I kept thinking because I was thinking, look, it's not that because you see the photos of Jedi, it's sort of sitting just above the atmosphere. Really, it's not sitting that far away from the planet. And I was thinking, it's not that far away. It's probably not going to make that much of an impact. But then I was thinking about the second Avengers movie, where they raise the city out of the ground. And they go, if that thing goes any higher than 10 kilometers and drops down, it's going to destroy all the life on the Earth or whatever it is. Now, I don't know who's more scientifically accurate. I don't know whether Joss Whedon knows what he's talking about or whether J.J. Abrams is. But I feel like if the tweet with the tractor beam,
it's a toss-up.
If JJ wants to drop a Death Star on Endor, JJ's going to drop a Death Star on Endor.
He will, yeah.
I'm just looking up. So the Death Star 2
is 160 kilometers.
200 kilometers I've got.
200 kilometers. Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's bigger than I thought it was.
So I'm just looking that up there. So I'm just trying to find... So obviously that's the whole thing.
Yes.
Not the... And I think the chunk that we see is sort of where the cannon is, isn't it? So it's the chunk.
Yeah, it's kind of like a good kind of chunk of the dish, and then because I think you do see the curvature on the on the right side as well. So, it's kind of at least half of the width. It might not be kind of like the depth. It might just be, but if it's 200 kilometers, that's at least 90 kilometers of Death Star there. So it's quite a mass.
Yeah, it is a mass. Well, I guess it all depends on where it drops and if it floats, if some burns up on the way in, and which bits are which, if it's all been pulled in. But you and I had this sort of discussion. You were showing diagrams of asteroids hitting the Earth, and then our buddy Matt Frost was chiming in as well. He had theories as well, and
Matt Frost theories. Oh, there's nothing quite like a Matt Frost theory. TM.
No, usually I'm used to them regarding Peppa Pig, but in this case, they were about Death Star debris and things. I just sort of believe that if that's what it is and it blew up, it would probably fall straight down. And there are some shots where you can sort of see the Death Star and you can see the curvature of the moon, and it's quite a size discrepancy. Excuse me, and so I think it's very possible that that's where it's fit. But again, they could have just picked it up and dragged it somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is one of those things. It's once again, it's one of those silly kind of like nerdy kind of not even arguments, just not even a heated debate really. It's just everyone kind of like bouncing ideas around. But yeah, I mean, it's like if it is Endor, I do think it's on the forest moon, but just the logistics of what that Death Star would have done just sitting on there, would have.
I'd like the idea that they go, they go there and there's a bunch of Ewoks that have just taken up shop in there or something. That they've just like stuff living in the trees. We're gonna go live in this. It's covered. There's beds and there's there's
beds. There's a canteen in there. It's because all the Death Star's got a canteen.
It's on a bit of an angle, but you can deal with that.
It is, yeah. I mean, I don't think trees are very. I don't think there's a 45-degree in a tree, so
No.
it's.
Well, if it does end up devastating all the life on the planet, maybe they all do have to move into the Death Star. So
perhaps they do, because everything else is under 3 feet of water. So
Yeah.
and I don't think Ewoks can swim.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to rewatch Caravan of Courage to find that one out.
Oh god, that's a fair point. Are there swimming Ewoks in Caravan of Courage?
Can Ewoks?
I know. Swim? Can Ewoks swim? There you are. There's something to Google. That's a rabbit hole.
I bet you
don't do it.
No, we're winding up. We can't go down the rabbit hole talking about swimming Ewoks. I'll bet you in the Ewok cartoon, there's probably the episode they go down to the watering hole or something hilarious.
Oh, there probably is. There probably is.
Before a giant piece of Death Star lands on there.
What's that in the sky?
Oh, that's our new home.
Oh, Chihuahua. Yeah, and it's and it's that one Ewok death, just times a billion. Times a billion.
Certainly make it a pretty unforgettable film if that happens.
Oh, wouldn't it just?
So what's your next 6 months of Star Wars looking like? Just gearing up for Mandalorian, gearing up for 9?
Yeah, kind of. A bit of both, really. I mean, really looking forward to kind of Mandalorian after seeing it in the. Were you actually in the panel or are you in Overflow? You were in Winchester. Yeah. Because we saw that in. It wasn't the Gal. What was the Twin Sun stage? That was it. Yeah, we saw it in Twin Suns, which is the smaller of the two overflows. And we got to see everything that you guys saw, and I'm really looking forward to that. I really am.
It's a nice way to whet the appetite, isn't it? Really,
it is, isn't it? And it's something we haven't quite seen before. It's like I know they kind of like brushed up against the whole kind of vibe in Solo, that kind of Western kind of thing, but we're kind of going to really, really spend some time there. So I'm looking forward to that. In episode 9, can't wait for that one. Just to kind of
So are you one of those get the local crew? Do you normally sort of go with friends, or are you going to hit the motivators for life, or what do you? Yeah,
normally I do. Yet? I do believe. I think. Yeah, it's going to be me, Dallas, and Nick Palmer are definitely in for a midnight screening. Yeah, I've already booked the next day off. I had to do that as soon as possible. Yeah, really had to.
I didn't do that one year for one of Steele's ones, and his go even later. The ones that he's done in Melbourne because he does the live show after. So
so it's not until 4 o'clock,
5 in the morning. Yeah, you're done. So I think I dropped Andy Campbell home at about 6 in the morning last time for Last Jedi. So. Yeah, we don't know what we're doing yet, but we'll definitely probably do Melbourne with the crew down here. So yeah, it'll be exciting. So we'll have to get you on. Maybe we'll get you on again around Mandalorian time. Get your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Always good to get a few opinions and things. But thanks for being on, mate. Thank
you very much for having
me berate you about your crazy Endor theories. I think you got off pretty light. I think you're okay. But
I'm not bleeding, so I'm. Thanks for being so light on me.
We want you to come back, so we've got to be friendly. But plug away your socials, mate, so people can give you a follow.
Yeah, it's just Twitter, and it's at David Strutt that's STRUTT on Twitter, and that's kind of it, really. That's awesome. It. Just the Twitter.
He's there. Doing some good stuff.
That's enough for me.
Well, you can find our stuff at StarWarsSpeltOut.com. There's links to all the show and all the merch and socials and all that kind of good stuff. And thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you very much, dude. It was excellent to be on and fantastic to see your lovely bespeckled face again.
you too, dude. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, indeed. Cheers, man.